Have you noticed how your priorities shift as you get older? The things that once felt essential, like keeping a large circle of friends, might not hold the same importance anymore. You may be surprised to hear this, but the truth is, you don't actually need friends after 70. This isn't about loneliness. It's about embracing independence and living life on your own terms, free from the expectations and obligations that can come with social ties. In this video, we're going to explore 6 reasons why friendships aren't as necessary in your later years as they once were. We will uncover how your personal freedom and even your health can improve when you stop worrying about maintaining friendships that no longer serve you. By the end, you may find that letting go of the pressure to maintain friendships isn't just liberating, it might change the way you see yourself for the better. We'll be saving the most important reason for last, so stick around. One of the biggest misconceptions about getting older is that you need a large circle of friends to be happy. But the truth is, the most important companionship you can have is the one you build with yourself. By the time you reach 70, you've spent decades learning, growing, and evolving, and you know yourself better than anyone else ever could. This self-awareness brings an incredible realization. You are enough. For most of our lives, we're taught to seek companionship outside ourselves, and we're told that being social is the key to happiness, and that loneliness should be feared. But there's a profound difference between being alone and being lonely. Some of the happiest people in their later years have embraced solitude not as isolation, but as a chance for self-discovery, reflection, and peace. When you stop relying on others for entertainment, validation, or conversation, you unlock a level of freedom that many people never experience. You become your own source of joy, wisdom, and fulfillment. The beauty of this is that when you truly enjoy your own company, you attract relationships that are effortless and meaningful, rather than chasing friendships out of loneliness. Letting go of the fear of being alone allows you to truly appreciate your own company. You'll find that you no longer need external distractions to fill your time, and you become a whole person on your own. This shift in mindset means that you're never truly alone, because the best company you can ever have is already with you. As you get older, something shifts. Peace starts to feel far more valuable than socializing. In your younger years, being around people might have felt like a necessity. The noise, the conversations, the constant gatherings. But as time goes on, you begin to appreciate something even more: quiet. And not just any quiet, but the kind that allows you to be at ease, free from unnecessary drama, obligations, and social fatigue. Many friendships, even the good ones, come with a certain level of responsibility. There are phone calls to return, invitations to accept, and unspoken expectations to maintain contact. It's not that friendships are bad, it's just that at a certain point they can start to feel like more effort than they're worth. The truth is, you don't have to spend your time trying to keep up with others, and you don't have to feel obligated to be available just because someone expects you to be. You've reached a stage in life where your time is your own, and you get to decide how to spend it. This is the beauty of this stage in life. You're no longer obligated to fill your days with constant activity or conversation just to feel connected. You get to enjoy your own company without the need for constant validation from others. You get to choose peace over pressure and calm over chaos. So if you've ever felt guilty for pulling back from social obligations, remind yourself of this: you're not withdrawing from life. You're embracing a new kind of fulfillment, the kind that comes from within. As you get older, you start to realize that time is your most valuable resource. In your younger years, it may have felt like there was always more of it, more time to spend with friends, more time to invest in social circles, and more time to worry about who was in your life and who wasn't. But by the time you reach 70, your perspective shifts.
You begin to see that every hour, every day, and every moment is precious. And when you understand the true value of your time, you naturally become more selective about how you spend it. Friendships, as fulfilling as they can be, also require time and effort. There are calls to make, visits to schedule, and plans to keep. While some connections are worth maintaining, many are simply habits we carry from the past, relationships we keep out of obligation rather than genuine enjoyment. At this stage in life, you have the right to ask yourself, is this how I want to spend my time? And does this friendship add to my happiness, or does it feel like another thing on my to-do list? By letting go of unnecessary friendships, you gain something far more valuable: time for yourself. This is time to do the things you love, to enjoy life at your own pace, and to focus on your own happiness instead of trying to meet the needs of others. So, if you ever find yourself questioning whether you should keep up with certain friendships, ask yourself, is this the best use of my time? At this stage in life, you don't owe your time to anyone. You've earned the right to use it however you choose.
One of the biggest reasons you don't need friends after 70 is that you've already lived through the phase of life where social validation mattered. Think back to your younger years. How often did friendships revolve around proving yourself, fitting in, or keeping up appearances? Whether it was impressing colleagues or making sure you were included in gatherings, there was always an underlying pressure to be seen and accepted. But now, you're at a stage where none of that is necessary. You've already built your legacy, and the opinions of others don't hold the same weight they once did. At this age, you've seen enough to understand that true fulfillment doesn't come from external approval. It comes from within. There's no longer a need to chase friendships for status, reputation, or social standing. You are who you are, and you don't need anyone else's validation to confirm it. While many younger people spend time worrying about how they're perceived, by the time you reach your later years, you realize that none of that defines your worth. You define your own value, and you don't need a group of people around you to reinforce it. This shift is incredibly liberating. Think about the energy you once wasted on friendships that didn't add real value to your life. When you no longer seek validation from others, you realized how much of that energy was spent trying to keep up with expectations that weren't your own. You've earned the right to live authentically, without the pressure of proving yourself to anyone. The only person you need to answer to is yourself. One of the hardest lessons in life is realizing that not everyone you call a friend is truly there for you. Over the years, you've likely experienced it. People who were once close drifting away, or friendships that turned out to be one-sided. By the time you reach 70, you start to understand that fewer friendships don't just mean fewer social obligations, they also mean fewer disappointments. Friendships, no matter how strong, come with expectations. The expectation to check in, to be available, to offer support. But what happens when those expectations aren't met? You get disappointment. You make an effort, but they don't reciprocate, and you find yourself giving more than you receive. At this stage of life, do you really need that kind of stress? The answer is no. This is something William, a 78-year-old man, learned from experience. He had seen friendships come and go, with some fading because he was always the one putting in the effort. People he had known for decades suddenly became too busy or uninterested to maintain a real connection. At first it stung, and he wondered what he had done wrong. But then he realized he wasn't the one who had changed. He had simply stopped tolerating friendships that weren't mutual. That's the key. When you let go of the idea that you need a large group of friends, you also let go of the frustrations that come with unmet expectations. You no longer have to feel let down when a friendship fades. Instead, you get to focus on the most important person in your life, yourself. This doesn't mean you have to isolate yourself. It simply means you're choosing quality over quantity. You can prioritize the relationships that truly matter and bring you joy, whether that's with a lifelong friend, family, or even just a strong connection with yourself. It's about choosing peace over frustration. One of the most powerful things you can do after 70 is let go.
Let go of the pressure to maintain friendships that no longer bring you joy. Let go of the idea that your social circle defines your worth. Let go of the belief that being alone means being lonely. The moment you release these expectations, you open the door to a life that is simpler, freer, and far more fulfilling. Many people hold on to friendships out of habit, even when those relationships no longer add value to their lives. They attend gatherings they don't enjoy and answer calls out of obligation simply because it's what they've always done. But what if you didn't have to do any of that? What if you gave yourself permission to let go of friendships that felt like work and instead focused on the things that truly bring you happiness? Consider James, a man in his late 70s who once believed that staying socially active was the key to aging well. He made an effort to keep in touch with old friends even when those friendships had become distant or superficial. He filled his days with social obligations, thinking that staying busy meant staying fulfilled. But one day he realized he wasn't enjoying it. The conversations felt repetitive, and the gatherings felt like routines. Deep down, he felt more exhausted than connected. So he made a choice. He stopped forcing friendships that no longer felt meaningful. Instead, he began prioritizing what truly mattered to him, spending more time outdoors, focusing on his health, and learning new things. He embraced the freedom that came with not having to meet anyone's expectations. In doing so, he discovered something incredible. He felt lighter, happier, and more at peace than ever before.
That's the thing about letting go. It doesn't mean closing yourself off from the world. It means creating space for what truly fulfills you. It's about recognizing that your happiness isn't tied to how many people you have around you, but rather to how aligned you are with the life you actually want to live. When you embrace this mindset, you stop worrying about who's in your life and start focusing on what brings you joy. You begin to appreciate the little things, waking up to a quiet morning, enjoying a hobby without distraction, and feeling at peace with your own thoughts. This is because fulfillment doesn't come from maintaining friendships out of duty, but from living in a way that feels natural and meaningful to you. To conclude, the idea that you don't need friends after 70 isn't about isolation, it's about freedom. It's about letting go of unnecessary obligations, choosing peace over pressure, and embracing the life you truly want to live. As you've seen, stepping away from friendships that no longer serve you can bring more joy, more time, and more fulfillment than you ever expected. What stood out to you the most? Which of these reasons resonated with you? We'd love to hear your thoughts, so leave a comment below and share one thing you learned today. Your support helps us continue to create content that informs and inspires you. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.